This is the new 2024 Mazda CX-5, and yes, I've read all of your comments telling me that it's basically the same car since the second generation model launched here back in 2017. And okay, yes, I'll give you that, but let me ask you something. Would you rather something that is the fresh new hotness but constantly bugs out with weird issues, or would you prefer something that's been gradually improved and perfected over the years? Well, that's exactly what this car is, and I think I know my answer. The Mazda CX-5 is a C-segment SUV that has been updated in 2024 with a facelift and a revised equipment list, although you guys made it really clear that this car here is really starting to show its age, especially when you compare it to its newly released rivals like the Honda CR-V. But if you ask me though, this car here still has a certain allure to it that makes it look just as good today as it did some 6 years ago. And the facelift update really does bring it up to par even when you put it side by side against its more recent competitors. The most obvious change here is the new headlights that now gets the new twin C-shaped light signature that really helps highlight the car's width. And that is paired to a cleaner and more body-coloured bumper design. Overall, I think the more three-dimensional shape thanks to the deeper headlights, the larger chrome pins and the larger gloss black mesh on the grille really does give the CX-5 a new refreshing look. It's almost as if the car has also grown up with age, presenting itself to be a little bit more classier and a little bit more matured. You can see that the CX-5 here has aged like fine wine, and when paired to the new 19-inch two-tone alloy wheels, the iconic Kodo design touches, and this new platinum quartz color, I think Mazda has once again moved the CX-5 up market, straddling the boundaries between premiumness and utility. The biggest update though for me is at the back. Now the pre-facelift model has always looked like it's squinting a little bit, especially with how small its tail lights are. On this facelift update, this here with the twin C-shaped light signature is now wider and bigger, making it look more proportionate to how big this car actually is and how much body real estate there is back here. Down here, the bumpers has also been redesigned with a cleaner aesthetic, especially with the smaller reflectors now that the LED fog lamps have been moved up to the main assembly. And the best part, you still get the real twin tailpipe exits back here. To complete its new looks, Mazda has also given the CX-5 some new classier typography for its emblems. But while you still get fog lamps at the back, those in front have been removed. Is it worth it for the better looking design? That's for you to decide, but at least I can tell you that the auto high beam and LED lighting does already work pretty well even in low visibility conditions. What changes on the outside are a bit more apparent. Well, inside here, it really is pretty much unchanged from before unless you look really closely. So I'm gonna help you out and tell you exactly what's new. There's now a wireless charging pad for your mobile phone, wireless Apple CarPlay connectivity, and those two are standard across the range. You now get gear shift pedals for the 2.0 high and above variants, and if you opt for the 2.5 high, 2.5 turbo high and 2.2 diesel high variants, you also now get seat ventilation for the front two seats. Oh, and you also get a new key fob, but aside from these changes, the rest of the cabin is really pretty much untouched, including the overall dashboard layout. So yeah, it's not that much in terms of actual changes, but does it really matter? Well, if you ask me, I don't think so, because aside from not having the shiny new thing, you're not actually losing out in terms of functionality. Take for example the semi-analog instrument cluster over here. It's not the fully digital displays like you now get even in the cheaper cars like the Proton S70, but I still get all of my important information displayed clearly even under harsh sunlight. Yes, the infotainment system here looks really old, but to be honest, I think it's fine enough for me because I can still access everything I need to through this physical knob down here. And even when I'm using the wireless Apple CarPlay connectivity, which connects very quickly every time I turn on the car by the way, I can still access my Google Maps, Apple Music or even Spotify directly through the shortcut keys down here in the center console. And sure, we don't get the Bose sound system like our neighbours up north do, but let me tell you that these speakers here actually really do sound good, and that's coming from someone who studied music in uni. All of these features and updates are the little things that make owning and driving this car so intuitive and effortless, and it really just shows how Mazda embodies their Jimba Itai philosophy, which to me is really more than just about driving. It's about how the driver connects with the car, starting from the most simple things like how everything is laid out to how this screen here is right by your eye line but not above the dashboard when you're looking out. And I mean, even these seats here have been updated on this facelift to reduce body sway and improve comfort while driving. And once you've experienced all these little things, trust me, you also won't care if this car looks a little bit old. That said, there are of course things that can still be improved here. The wireless charger position, for example, makes it really easy for your phone to just slide out of position when you drive over the big humps, and the 360-degree surround view monitor is still also very bad in its image quality. But the worst of all, these Maggie-Me car mats. I mean, come on! Here in the back, well, space has never really been the CX-5's strong suit, and that hasn't really changed here. Knee room is fine enough, and so is the headroom, but shoulder room does leave a little bit to be desired, especially if you plan on having 3 adults back here. In terms of actual comfort though, I think the seat recline is just about right, but I think the seat base here can be tilted a little bit more to give you more support on your thighs. But just like the front, there are also many little small things here in the back that makes living in this car very pleasant. Like this elaborate armrest that even has the hidden USB ports inside, the rear aircon vents, the 40-20-40 split folding rear seats that can be folded down from the boot, and the boot space, while isn't the biggest in its class, is also very wide, so it's very accessible when you're trying to load things into the back. And I also really like how the tonneau cover is attached to the hatch itself, so it really gets out of the way when you're trying to load things into the back. If there's one word to describe the way that the CX-5 drives, then it'd be smooth, as in truly in every way possible. Well, starting from the engine, because it's naturally aspirated, that means the way that it delivers power, it just oozes out of your engine as you squeeze on the accelerator. And then there's the 6-speed automatic gearbox that just meshes the cogs together so seamlessly without any hint of a lag. Together, the CX-5 just builds speed in the most straightforward, the most effortless, and the most creamiest of ways. The CX-5 is pretty fast too, with a 2.5-litre inline-4 engine here, making some 192 horsepower and 258 Nm of torque. Now, Mazda doesn't say exactly how fast it accelerates, but look online and you'll find figures ranging from 8 to 10 seconds. That's plenty enough for day-to-day use, and together with the smoothness of the engine, I think this powertrain option is truly the pick of the bunch. But it really is more than just the powertrain. Again, going back to the point about the little things, well, it also applies to the way that it drives. Take for example the brake pedal. It's really linear and has a nice travel to it, which means when you are stopping for a traffic light, it's really easy to control the car to slow it down smoothly. And then there's the steering wheel, which has a very nice sort of adaptive weight to it, which means not only is it precise and direct when you are going through the twistier roads, it's also really easy to navigate around town. And then of course, there's the suspension, which just glides over all of the road undulations in such a peaceful way. And when you pair it to the much more quieter cabin in here on this facelift model, well, the CX-5 really is such an effortless and easy car to drive. People always talk about how Mazda's Jimba Itai philosophy is about the sportiness of the car, about how it feels when you're going up Genting, for example. And don't get me wrong, even with the fairly obvious body roll on here, the CX-5 truly is still one of the best when it comes to that, especially on this facelift model thanks to the GVC Plus torque vectoring control that really just gives you so much more confidence when you're attacking the corners. But if you ask me, the CX-5 here really just proves that Jimba Itai is so much more than just that. It's about making you feel natural and connected to the drive, no matter if you're just stuck in a traffic jam, going to your shopping malls, cruising on the highways, or even on your more spirited drives. It's about how the car lets you know exactly what it's doing at all times. And that's why the suspension setup is not completely soft and vague, so you can still feel all of the road surfaces and the road imperfections through the steering wheel and the seats. And I think that's also probably why they've stuck with this same powertrain combo for so long, because it's just so instinctive to drive this car without any sudden power surges or jerkiness at all. The CX-5 isn't without its faults, of course. Like the iStop auto start-stop system can get very rough sometimes on startup, so much so that it's now second nature for me to just turn it off every single time I start the car. The fuel consumption is just about average, and the noise that the engine makes isn't really the most pleasant or exciting to listen to. But when you add everything together, the overall driving experience, the ambience inside here, and the little quality of life updates like the addition of the Mazda radar cruise control and the gear shift pedals behind the steering wheel, all these little things just makes the CX-5 such a complete package. That's why this car sells like a hotcake over here. And I really wouldn't be surprised if the facelift update also does the same, even though there are so many keyboard warriors out there that's jumping to criticize it, even though they are probably not even in the right target market. And yes, I'm talking to you. The 2024 Mazda CX-5 is not the most exciting car of the year, but it's a car that does everything it needs to do, and it does it very well. And I think that's a mantra that I personally try to live by as well. The new CX-5, just like the car from 7 years ago, is still the same trusty and dependable family workhorse. But this time, it's also got a bit more class and maybe a little bit more style too. And that is probably worth the increase in price, don't you think? For more information on the 2024 Mazda CX-5, head on over to AutoBuzz.my. If you enjoyed today's review, be sure to click that like button down there, and of course subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. And of course that little bell icon will give you notifications to all of our latest videos. This is Woon, and I'll see you in the next one.